this. All right, there we are. Okay, happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. I this is about as green. I see, Tom, you kind of
I've
nodded
got
a little bit
green,
to
green.
green.
Yeah.
I'm
I
green.
don't know if you can tell. Okay. Oh, Julia's no green. Andrea, I don't know.
I don't think
With the
so.
last name
Green.
Callahan, do I just get a pass?
You get a
Not
hard
for your
pass on
green.
that. You get a hard pass. Sorry if I'm wiping my nose through this. I have a cold that hit me this weekend really hard, and it's been a pain in the you know what. But I'm here. And happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy
And
St. Patrick's Day.
I know. And as I was like going through this, I was like, I should have saved up all of my favorite Irish authors for today. We could have talked about
I know I
nesting.
wore green, but I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
That's
We could have talked about nesting. We could have talked about Sebastian Barry.
I
We could talk
know.
about Tana French. We could talk about so many, we could talk about Nell Williams.
Just
Um,
go down our bookshelf.
just go. I could look over here. My boyfriend Colin McCann, just
Sean
saying.
Hewitt. Gotta say
Yep.
Sean Hewitt.
John Hewitt, Paul Murphy, John Boyne. If nobody has read The Hearts of Visible Furies, just stop everything right
Oh,
now and just go
Mm.
read that book.
that's me. I
That's
haven't read that, but I've been
oh,
meaning to.
I'm looking over at my bookcase just to find out. And back to Colin McCann, and I think we might have talked about this last week, or I was on another book talk maybe when I was talking about it. Um, A Paragon.
Oh, I love
That
his book.
should be on everybody's list right now to read because it is about a Palestinian father and an Israeli father whose
Mm.
children are killed by each other. And this was back in like the 90s when this happened. And these fathers created this French, I mean, it is a spectacular book.
And it's
Hard
based
book.
on a true, it's
They're
based
based on
on
two real
their
men.
true initiative. Yeah.
Yes. And it's amazing. So it should be one of those books that everybody should be reading right now. Just saying. But anyways, back to and our friend Sebastian Barry.
Yes,
Just give
yes,
him some
definitely.
love.
Claire Keegan. Claire Keegan.
Claire Keegan.
Hmm.
Claire Keegan. Um, there was another one. There was another Claire that came up when I was looking at my stuff. But anyways, so there's our nod, our little hat tip to our Irish authors
Yes,
on
yes.
St. Patrick's Day. Everybody who's watched me, in fact, I did a book talk. The book talk I did last week was for USD for their U3. It's like for older people. It's a like the third chapter kind of thing, and so it's for retirees. They do this whole seminar for them. And so we're Warwick's is one of the presenters that we come and do a book talk for them. So I was gushing, of course, about my love and admiration for Irish authors, and this one gentleman was so funny, and he says at the chat, he goes, "So Julie, why do you like Irish authors?" And I'm like, "Well, what's there not to like
Where do
about
I start?
where do I start?" It's like
I
the
know.
way they write, the way they tell a story. It's like every book that I've ever read is fantastic. It's like, where do you want me to go with this? So
Funny.
it was pretty funny. I was cracking up. All right. I don't even know what order y'all came in, but I think Liz is first, Thomas second,
Yeah.
Julia's going third, and Andrea's going fourth. So since we've got such a nice full house, without further ado, Liz, take us away.
Okay. But where can I share my screen? Oh, there.
I
You
think
know,
you're.
I get rusty really easily.
I know it's hard. I do too, and I do this every week.
I do. Okay, so my first book is So Darn Dear, Raising Hair. Um, this just hit the New York Times list. I guess it's going to be on this Sunday. And Chloe Dalton this is her debut. It's a memoir. And she is UK. She worked for Parliament. She's a famous speechwriter. She's written speeches for Prince William and Queen Elizabeth. She's really a high profile writer, but has never written anything personal like this. So during the pandemic, she moved. She has a very busy jet-setting London life, but she moved into more rural English countryside to be closer to her parents. And you know how isolating that time was. One day she heard a dog barking and creating a stir, which was unusual. And she went out and she found this little baby hare, which is called a leveret. And the leveret was looked stranded, abandoned, and but she knew well enough to not pick it up, to not, human intervention is not good for wildlife. So she let it be, but couldn't stop thinking about it and went back hours later. It was in this exact same spot. And so she decided to bring it into her home and bottle feed it. And this is the journey of that relationship. She never names the hare because she knows that it belongs in the wild. And so she is waiting for it to be strong enough to do that. She never confines it. There's always a way out of the house. And indeed, comes a day when it's like 3 months old that it does leave, and she's really sad about it. But then it comes back, and so I don't know how many. It's been a few years, and sometimes it's gone for 5 weeks. Sometimes, sooner. It had baby leverets in her home. They just have this really dear relationship. It loves the rain. It will like pitter pat on her duvet cover to the rhythm of the rain almost. But it's really in the writing. And it's very much about the way we regard animals. I know I heard at our sales conference last week that her next book is going to be sort of about the ethics of owning pets. So that's obviously informed by this book. It's one of these books like H is for Hawk or, a number of books, although she's a special writer, that really could be given to anyone. Everybody I have given it to has loved it. So Chloe Dalton and Matt Haig, I love his quote. He says of it, a beautiful book that makes you think profoundly about how we so often tune out the natural world around us. Chloe Dalton is a tender, curious, wise, mind-expanding guide, connecting readers with the wild we humans once knew so well. I will be recommending this to everyone. So that's my book.
And I'm going to take you off a screen share. I'm not a memoir reader, but this one actually has me kind of intrigued because it just sounds fascinating with the whole hair of the rat. I mean, sounds really, and the cover was really good too.
Yeah, the cover's beautiful.
The
Have you
cover
seen
is
it in the store yet? It has kind of a pearlized, it's so gorgeous. It's really
yeah.
beautiful.
It's beautiful, but yeah, no, sounds really fascinating. And so just real quick, I know Tom, it's your turn, but we're going to jump in real quick on a question that, not a question, but a comment that came in on the chat from Lori about the Nathaniel Ian Miller interview for Red Dog Farm. Honest to God, Lori, that was one of my favorite interviews that we've done in a long time. In what you said was exactly right. His thoughtful answers, and her as an interviewer, she was fantastic. Tao did a great job on the interview. And in fact, when we first got into it, I was like, oh, just go for about a half hour. And as it's going, I'm in the background going, oh, no, go as long as you want.
Right, stretch it out.
Just keep going. Please just
Keep
take
going.
this. Keep on going because this is gold that's happening right now. So if you haven't listened to the Nathaniel Ian Miller interview, do yourself take a little time, take a little break, and go listen to it. It was very good. It was very good. So little plug for that one.
Cool.
Okay, Tom,
And thanks.
sorry. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say thanks for everyone who's bought the book from Warwick's because I appreciate that greatly.
Yeah, so do we. So do we. So thanks for that. Okay, Tom, sorry. Didn't mean to
Okay,
get an
no
interlude
problem.
in there, but
That's
like
good.
to catch those comments when they come in.
Definitely. So this is an exciting day for a lot of reasons for me because we don't publish Michael Lewis normally. But I have a Michael Lewis book to present from Riverhead. This is not a Michael Lewis, like a full Michael Lewis book, but it's a Michael Lewis joint because he put it together. So it's called Who is Government? The Untold Story of Public Service. So this has been an obsession with Michael Lewis. He wrote The Fifth Risk in 2018 after Donald Trump came in the first time, and that was about the quote unquote deep state, the people behind the deep state. And it has become something that he's continued to think about, and he got an all-star for this book. He's got an all-star lineup of contributors. He writes two of the essays. There's Dave Eggers, Casey Sepp, Geraldine Brooks, Sarah Vowell, Kamau Bell and John Lanchester, all writing in different. So it's like Michael Lewis on a person who works in the Department of Labor and also a person who works in the Food and Drug Administration, Sarah Vowell on the National Archives. And obviously, this is not a rushed book. This is not a book that came out because it's so timely today or last week, except it gets more timely by the day, by the week, because these are the people, the real people who are doing the work that is being so devalued right now by this administration. So it could not be more timely. And these are all the things we don't think about. Like one of the subjects of Michael Lewis, the woman who works at the FDA, she, he tells her whole story, and then he tells what the work that she's done led it was a rare disease that a little girl had that is almost never caught because of the work this person did in the FDA on this disease. Her doctors were able to connect to the right medicine, which actually came from China. I mean, all these things that was this chain of people, like real people doing real work to save a girl's life. But these are the stories we don't get. They're just bureaucrats, they're the deep state, all that stuff. So they're behind the scenes of people, and that's the other thing. There's no advertising budget for these people, for the Department of Labor. The FDA doesn't spend money telling you who these people are. And they're also reluctant to tell their stories. They're not like eager to self-promote their work. They just want to do the work. So it's a really fantastic collection. Cannot recommend it highly enough. Who is Government? The Untold Story of Public Service. You'll see Michael Lewis all over the media. There's no one better no better talker about his books. And I think he feels this one really deeply, probably more every day.
Oh, absolutely. And everybody just needs to go buy that one. Okay,
Yeah.
so there's a couple things I want to say. I'm
Yeah.
sure we're talking about this. Go watch the Katie Couric interview with him.
Oh, I haven't
Um,
seen him.
Takes down, it's a very good takedown of somebody with the EM initials.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
I mean, it was a great interview with her. And I can't remember the other things I wanted to say because my brain is like a sieve. But the other thing was, okay, so Dave Eggers is
Yeah,
one of the contributors. Dave Eggers is actually the ambassador of the San Diego Book Crawl.
I saw that. That was so
Yeah.
exciting.
And he will be at Warwick's at noon on Sunday, April 20, whatever that Sunday is, 27th, 28th, one of those days in there. So come by at noon if you want to meet Dave Eggers, and I'm sure he would sign that essay
That's right. You're
that's
right.
in
Oh,
that.
yeah,
So that would be a really
definitely.
good thing to have done.
Is he living in
Um,
the San Diego area now, or is he just swinging through for?
I think he's swinging through for the ambassadorship. So no, it wasn't he's not a local, but he's taken on our as the ambassador of our book crawl. So that's a very cool thing. And there was something else that I wanted to say, but I can't remember. Maybe it was something about the deep state, and I don't
Yeah.
know,
I mean, I just
and
can't
what
believe
they
it.
think the
That's
deep
why I've been
state
so
is.
anxious for this book to come out. As the weeks have, each week follows the one before, and we see what's happening. This book just is more necessary. I just want more people to understand that there are people
Yeah.
these are real people doing real work. They're not
Oh,
just they're not just punching a clock, collecting a
right.
paycheck, all that
No.
stuff.
And what I wanted to say, oh, I know when you said that they don't have an advertising budget, but it seems like our Christy Nome could be on our news channels every day with her commercial. At least here in San
Yeah, you're
Diego, it
right.
is. And it's like, are you kidding me? I see her
Yeah,
every day. And it's a
yeah,
little
you're
like
right.
that's what we're spending our tax dollars on, is that advertising? Interesting.
Exactly.
Very interesting.
Exactly.
Anywho, I guess I'm taking off my nonpartisan hat here.
You're putting on your citizen hat.
I'm putting on my citizen hat. Anywho, okay, Julia, what do you got? Save me.
Okay. Mine is now for something completely different. Mine is called Liquid, a Love Story by Miriam Ramani. And this is out and out satire. This is a wonderful book. Oh, it's so much fun. And it is a satire of sort of a number of different things, modern love and dating, definitely. But also, so it follows a woman who she's an adjunct professor at UCLA, which means she cannot afford to live in Los Angeles, even though she is teaching full time at UCLA. As anyone who knows anything about adjunct professorship knows, you don't really make a whole lot of money doing it. And she's Persian American. And a lot of this takes place in a neighborhood in LA that some of you may or may not know, commonly referred to as Tehrangeles, which is West Los Angeles. And she decides one day, she's sort of been, I don't know if unlucky in love is like the term. Like she kind of like dates sometimes and like doesn't really care, but she decides that what she really needs is to marry rich. Because she does not have enough money to survive. And so she says to herself, in my culture, in Persian culture, people have been having arranged marriages for centuries. Why don't I'm going to set myself up on 100 dates via a dating app, and we're going to see if I can't find a rich person. She's bisexual, so man or woman, she doesn't care, to marry me. And what proceeds is absolute hilarity about dating in LA, but just dating online using apps to date, sort of the various states in which she finds people as they go on these dates. It is just a tremendously fun book and funny book. And it's a real takedown of sort of like modern kind of everything, work, modern romance. It is just an absolute delight. So that's Mariam Rahmani's Liquid, a Love Story.
I love the cover because I'm assuming it's a spreadsheet for all of her lovers that she like keeps track of.
Yes.
So it's like
It
that's
is.
fantastic. And Amanda's on here saying a friend of hers actually found a husband with the same technique. One of my daughter's friends did too. It's like, okay, I'm going to go on 80 dates and see. Not
Yeah.
that she was looking for a rich man, but she was just looking for the right person. But
I mean,
I kind of
listen,
love, hey, you might as well marry rich if you can, right?
you know,
You know,
I think I mean, at this point,
why not? Why
the only
not?
way to survive.
Oh, I kind of love it a little bit. All
Yeah.
right. Looks like a good one. Thanks, Julia. Okay, Andrea, what do you have for us to start off?
I have this beautiful book by Robert Seethaler, The Cafe with No Name. This is from Europa Editions, a $25 hardcover that came out at the end of last month, but I wanted to talk about it. I was gone for a while. So this is a number one bestseller in Germany, and it tells the stories of the lives of the patrons, the owner, and the wait staff at this cafe that has no name. In beginning in like the mid 60s, so just as in Vienna, just as the transformation of that city takes place like post World War II devastation. So it's told over the course of 20 years. And so the character development is great. It's really beautiful. I love how the characters' lives are intertwined. This is Michael Reynolds, who is the executive editor at Europa. This is his favorite book, if not the year, for sure this season. He's very big on this. And that guy is well read and brings a lot of really amazing books to the market each year. And to an ever increasing readership. So when he says this is his favorite, people pay attention. So The Cafe with No Name, and what a beautiful cover, right?
Great cover, great description. I'm just writing it down on my list of TBD, TBR, to be read.
Oh yeah, I forgot to read you this Elizabeth Strout quote, author of All Age Kittredge. How I love this book, filled with truth after truth, poignantly rendered and given to us with tender open-heartedness. Seethaler is in a league of his own, capturing a place and time that is ultimately universal. So there you go.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. And we do love Michael Reynolds. He's given us Mona's Eyes that's coming out in May. Just y'all wait for that one. And Darcy, yes, 33 plus Brugman is hot at Warwick's right now, because there are two booksellers that are almost, I don't know if they're both finished reading it, but love it, cannot talk highly enough about it. It's like if you want just a pure historical fiction that's done very well, that's the one.
Well, and it's interesting because I think this is a companion book in many ways. I mean, number one, like the covers are very similar with the edifices of
Right.
buildings.
Yep.
And then also the intertwined stories of characters, many characters wending throughout. So, you know,
Yep.
I think it would be a perfect, if you read hardcovers, it'd be a perfect double whammy for book groups.
Yep. I
You
think
know,
so too.
yeah.
For sure. All right, round two. We got Liz back up. Thanks,
I'm
Andrea.
back up. And next, I want to talk about a novel that went on sale last week. Much anticipated. Karen Russell has a lot of fans, a lot of followers. Your readers might remember Swamplandia, which was a Pulitzer Prize finalist. And this is something pretty different. Indie Next, all the books I'm talking about are Indie Next picks. Um, so The Antidote is a surreal novel, explores grief and loss, and here's sort of the premise. It's a Dust Bowl epic set in 1935 in the fictional town of Utz, UZ, sort of like the US and Oz, an amalgam of those two places, with a population of less than 300 people. And it begins in the midst of a devastating dust storm on Black Sunday. It's told through five perspectives. One of the most fascinating is the Prairie Witch, who takes deposits, records people's memories, townspeople's memories, whether they're bad or good, kind of as safekeeping in a vault in her body. She has this emerald green nod to Oz, ear horn that, when in a trance, transports these memories into her body. So that's a fascinating, bizarre aspect to it. Then her assistant is a 15-year-old named Asphodel, who's a basketball player and very unlikely apprentice, whose memory, this is dark, of her murdered mother fills her with a bottomless rage. And then there's her uncle, who's perplexed by the fact that his wheat crop was somehow miraculously spared, the only crop that was spared in the storm. And then there's a black photographer, Cleo, who was sent by the Resettlement Administration to take photos and fix propaganda images for Roosevelt's New Deal. So this is historical, yes, obviously very, you know, lots of imagination, lots of creativity in the telling of the tale. And, it's mainly kind of an allegory inspired by The Wizard of Oz, but in no way a retelling of it, about kind of a reckoning of how the West was settled. I love the first lines of the novel. A person can lose everything in an instant. A fortune, a family, the sun. So there's some climate crisis aspect to this, and it really reminded me of Jenny Offel's Weather, and also some Gold Fame Citrus. But again, it's very historical and not as much post-apocalyptic. Fascinating tale. She's such an amazing writer, and I love the Kaveh Akbar quote. She's a writer's writer, but a reader's writer, and pick it up if you've never read her. She's really something else.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, a true original too. I mean, you're really lucky that you get to talk about her work, 'cause, I mean, she's just really one of our best.
Yep.
So,
And I know Mallory's finished it, can't stop talking about it. And we've got a lot of booksellers that aren't quite done with it, but everybody's talking about it. So this is the book
Yep.
for sure. It's great to have another one from her for sure.
hey,
Okay, Tom.
All right. So this came out last week, I think. I'm losing track of time. Kim Fay's Kate and Frida. So this is the follow-up. It's connected to Love and Saffron, which was her first book with us. Similar format, similar looking book. Um, but you don't have to have read Love and Saffron. There are Easter eggs for readers of Love and Saffron, but it definitely stands alone. And it's just like you sink into it. It's just as the first, just as Love and Saffron was. This is a book told in letters. So it's about Frida, who is just 20 something. We're going, Julie, we're going back in time, ancient history to the early 90s, pre-internet. So this is historical. This is a historical fiction.
Don't tell me 90s is historical. It's pretty soon you're going to tell me it's vintage.
I'm afraid it is. So no internet. So they're writing letters to each other. So how it starts is Frida's in Paris. She wants to be a war correspondent, and she gets herself to Paris. But she needs a book, and so she initially is going to go to Dutton's Brentwood because that's her favorite store. She's from Los Angeles, but she ends up writing to Elliott Bay in Seattle, and the bookseller who opens the letter, and which is she's ordering a book. All she's doing is ordering a book. That bookseller writes her back, and that's Kate. And so this is the correspondence between the bookseller and Frida. So it's filled with, book knowledge, book references. It's just really, you just sink into this world and you go back and forth. It's great. I mean, it's books, food, just as in Love and Saffron, food plays a big role. So there's books, there's food. Did I mention Paris? There's Paris. And so it's like, we all love 84 Charing Cross Road. These kind of books told in letters can be really wonderful, and that's what this is. Love and Saffron was a #1 Indie Next Pick when we published it a few years ago. This is also an Indie Next Pick. So if you enjoyed that, you will absolutely love this book. That's Kate and Frida.
Yep. And Love and
A
Saffron
novel
was
of friendship, food, and books. So it's also about female friendship, but told through they're not together, they're apart. But also
yeah.
the book selling part too. So Kim Fay worked at Elliott Bay. She worked at Elliott Bay in the early 90s. So she's really drawing on her own experience.
I love it. And it's Love and Saffron was a huge Warwick's favorite too. I mean,
Yes.
huge.
Yes.
So I know that this one will be too. But oh my God. And it's hard to we were just talking about this the other day. I went to a celebration of life service on Saturday, and it was way out in our East County. And it was like, and we used to go to this person's house all the time back in the 80s and 90s. And I was like, how did we get here back then? Without GPS,
Yes.
without I mean, those were the days, I guess, that it was like, the third mailbox and make a left. Yeah, the maps, giant Thomas Brothers.
Exactly. I had when I moved to LA, I had that big Thomas Brothers book.
Yeah. But I mean, but it's so funny because I honest to God don't remember what it was like not having all of this technology.
Yeah.
It's really odd to try to even think of what life was like without all of this.
I know, that's why it is like a book like this it does take you back to that time when you're writing, handwriting notes and opening envelopes and all that stuff.
And that does seem, to Julia's point, it kind of does seem like the late 1900s.
Late 1900s.
Yeah.
I tell you, that's an attack. Yeah.
Sort of what it feels like. It's like where they're horse and buggies and ponies and the Pony Express before all of this. Yeah. Oh my God, save us. Too funny. All right, Julia, what's next?
All right. So I've got, just to make us all ready for dinner time. Oh, I have clicked the wrong button. Hang on. I have done, I'm going to share Mother Sauce, Italian-American family recipes and the stories of the women who created them.
Yum.
So Mother Sauce is absolutely one of my favorite cookbooks of the season. One of the things I love so dearly about it, and here I'll show you some of the wonderful pictures, is that it is like distinctly Italian-American. I feel like so often we get Italian cookbooks that are Italian, which are wonderful cookbooks, but this is a very Italian-American cookbook. And what I also love is it's not only East Coast Italian-American, there is also West Coast Italian-American. And even though I claimed my Irish heritage earlier, I'm mostly Italian. The Irish is just, I don't even know where that is, but it is mostly Italian. And West Coast Italian. So it has these wonderful recipes, this wonderful sort of home cooking, this Italian cookie tray. I didn't even realize that this was like an Italian thing until I read this cookbook, and I was like, oh, not everyone got paraded around to like people's houses when they were a child and like given cookies and got their cheeks nearly pinched off.
Yeah.
Like that is a whole thing. Yeah. I did. But this is my favorite, the Seven Fishes Seafood Stew, which is cioppino, which is a San Francisco Italian dish, Italian American dish, that we eat. My family eats on Thanksgiving. We don't have turkey, we have cioppino. So I just think this is a wonderful cookbook, a lovely cookbook. It is a cookbook that celebrates Italian American culture and heritage, and the women who, for the most part, in Italian families do all of this cooking. So to get us prepped for dinner time, that is mother sauce.
I love it. And prep for dinner time, but because my husband, I've forbade him now to cook corned beef on St. Patrick's Day because I said, I'm sorry, boiled meat just is not happening in our house anymore. So we can have some Italian food though on St. Patrick's Day, I think. Why not?
Well, I
I love
mean, for your cold, you could have like that nice green minestrone. That is so nice. That's a good dish.
Oh,
Yeah.
or Italian wedding soup.
Yep.
That's one of my
Tuscan
favorites.
bean soup.
Yep, there we go.
I mean, the
All right.
sky's the limit, and the photography in that book is awesome.
Really good.
Yeah.
I might have to cut this early. I've got to go eat. Okay. All right,
Sorry.
Andrea. All right, Andrea, what do you got next for us?
This is from David R. Godine, out of Boston. Alive: Our Bodies and the Richness and Brevity of Existence by Gabrielle Weston, who is a surgeon and an award-winning writer. So you get the best of both worlds, like somebody who's like knows all about the body and somebody who can write their brains out. So it's just a really profound journey through the human body and the experience of being alive, from this award-winning writer. It's original, it's extremely intimate, and it's a writerly exploration of the intricacies of the body and actually, how magical it is to be alive. Now, oftentimes, like surgeons and doctors of all stripes are a little bit more clinical about descriptions of the body because they're dealing with a lot of stuff every day. But this really has a bit of poetry and even I think like circles around the sacred in terms of like just the essence of being alive and like how amazing our bodies are. And I really do think that this is like one of those books that you pick up for anybody who is thinking about medicine. Like look at this. It's science, life science, human anatomy, physiology. No. I mean, I think that this is just like should be like in the front of store, like with all the great nonfiction titles. I don't think it necessarily should go in life sciences. But if you know somebody, if you have a student that who's interested in these subjects or like pre-med, I think this is a book to give to them too for like graduation. So there you go. Oh, I should stop sharing, right?
Oh, there we go. I wasn't sure if we're going to keep going, but yeah, you're right. It's almost like, I mean, there's so many. What was it's like cancer book, Maladies, or what was that
Something
one?
of Maladies. Emperor of Maladies.
Emperor Maladies. I mean, I kind of equated sort of in the same sort of thing that it's like that this book seems to be more for the general consumption.
And
Yeah.
Bill Bryson did that book, The Body. But this
Right.
sounds so poetic. Andrea, just hearing you talk about it.
Yeah, it's
So
definitely more. I mean, I think it's a very poetic approach, and so for the layperson who's interested,
Right. It seems accessible to the layperson that it's not
Yeah.
going to be this like textbook kind of thing.
yeah. I mean, she
Yeah.
she won a Penn Ackerley Award for her 2009 nonfiction work called let's see, Direct Red. So I mean, yeah, she could write, and it's very clear. And so anybody who's even mildly interested in the subject, will find this compelling.
Love it. Kim's asking, is Alive illustrated?
No.
Okay, there we go. All right, Liz, and I loved your comment earlier about Julia's book. I love the anise flavored cookies too. Nothing
I
better.
do. Not everyone loves licorice flavoring, but I
Oh my
sure
God.
do.
Oh, look at Tom. He's like, I love black licorice
So
specifically,
do
Tom.
I. So do
Tom's
I.
dying
But
over
I
there.
did read that black licorice raises your blood pressure.
I know, I read that too, and I got so disappointed. I was like,
It
wait a
is.
minute.
It's sad. I really indulged one day and I felt my heart racing. It was really bizarre.
I
Anyway,
know. Anyways, no, side note on that, I did the same thing, Liz, and I was really pissed because it used to be kind of my treat, and red licorice just doesn't do it for me.
no,
So
not at all.
I was really pissed
Not
off about that.
at all.
Right.
So I do have an Irish book. I have an Irish
There we
book,
go.
and this is one of dear Steve Atinsky loved this book so much. He
So did I.
yeah, probably talked about it in hardcover. And so it's just a great read. It's funny. It's about
So funny.
friends and lovers and Ireland and chaos. And it's 2021, and Rachel is working at a bookstore, and she meets fellow bookseller James, and it's love at first sight. They soon are living together. She's his roommate, and they begin this friendship that changes their lives. They're running through the streets of Cork, trying to maintain this bohemian existence. All the while, the threat of the financial crash is looming before them. And then Rachel falls in love with her married professor, Dr. Fred Byrne, and James is helping her devise a reading at their local bookstore, the goal of which would be that Rachel, can seduce Fred afterwards. But Fred has other desires. And so this begins this series of secrets and compromises, and all the fates are intertwining between James and Rachel and Fred, and also Fred's glamorous bourgeois wife. So this is, if you liked One Day, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you read it, Julie, so
Mm-hmm.
do correct me if I'm steering people down the wrong path. But to me, if you liked that, the Friendship Romance of One Day by David Nichols, or even Normal People by Sally Rooney, this would be a great one to read. And Gabrielle Zevin, author of Tomorrow, Tomorrow, and Tomorrow, wrote in her review, if you've ever been unsure what to do with your degree in English, if you've ever loved the wrong person or the right person at the wrong time, in short, if you've ever been young, you will love the Rachel incident like I did.
Absolutely. No, that's all 100%. And it is, here, I'll take us off screen share. Hold on, where are we? And it's no, all those descriptions were absolutely it. It's so messy in the best way.
Yes, it's hilarious.
It's hilarious. But it's so messy.
The
It's just
scene
like
I'll never get out of my head, the scene in the bookstore, which I won't go into, but remember when the author comes and yeah, things don't go as planned.
things kind of don't go as planned for anybody.
Yeah.
No, it's a really good book. And it's one of those, I mean, I think everything is different levels of reading. It's like this one is one of those just like it's a fun, great, well done
Delectable.
read.
Yeah.
Yeah. Digestible, just a well done read. So
And I often repeat this, but it really is hard to do funny in fiction.
Yeah, I agree.
I
And
agree.
I mostly don't like funny in fiction
I
unless it's really
know.
well done. But this
Because
one,
it usually always feels like they're trying too hard.
Yeah,
yeah.
It always
thing
feels like
isn't
it's like, oh,
natural.
they're trying to go for that joke, and it's just like, yeah, you need to work harder to make
Yeah.
me laugh. Sorry. Okay, Tom.
Totally.
I know I'm a cynic
We're hard
that
to
loves black
please.
that loves black licorice. Do you hate me now, Tom?
Yes. No, God, the worst.
Amanda's on here saying that the licorice is one of those things that divides human race very sharply, and it does. My husband hates it.
Cilantro, like cilantro, a little
Yeah.
bit like cilantro.
Yeah.
I'm not a cilantro person either.
I wonder if there's a because there is a cilantro like DNA thing.
There is
Yeah,
a
yeah.
gene
I wonder if there's
predisposition.
a licorice one too.
I wonder.
Probably.
Or celery. Celery. My husband hates celery too, but that just might be a taste thing. Who knows?
Celery, it's not enough to hate.
I
What?
know,
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
Come on. I know. It's like it's water.
Yeah.
Anyways, I digress.
Okay,
Tom,
we're
Okay.
digressing for
Let's
sure.
get back to books.
let's get back to
So Headshot, which I've talked about here
Oh,
and
yeah.
talked about over and over many places, is out in paperback. It's so great to have it in paper. This is going to be a great book club book. Rita Bullwinkle's novel about one day in Reno, Nevada, these teenage girl boxers, and so each chapter is a bout between two different girls, and it really gets it's just it's stunningly original, like, but such a simple idea, but she pulls it off, brilliantly. She was a athlete. Rita Bullwinkle herself was an athlete, and so you really get a sense of the intimacy of athleticism and the the ferocity. All of that stuff comes through in the prose. Um, and so you really learn, and you learn so much about each fighter's past, what brought them to this moment in Reno, Nevada, and you even get glimpses of their future. So she's a really good writer. It made all the lists, Obama's list last year. It was longlisted for the Booker, Indie Next Pick, of course. So many, the New York Times. It didn't quite make the 10 best, but I'm sure it was very close. The New York Times loved this book. So if you haven't read it in hardcover, read it in paper. Dwight Garner, the New York Times, he wrote a huge rave right at the beginning. He says, "Make room, American fiction, for a meaningful new voice." And then Pam Zhang says, "Headshot is an extraordinary act of literary telepathy. With prose as muscular and gleaming as a body in motion, Bullwinkle drops readers into that roaring, incandescent universe that is young womanhood. This is a book with its own pulse." So I cannot recommend it highly enough. It's short, it goes by fast, but it packs a punch.
Ah, God, you had to do it,
I had to
right?
do it. I'm sorry, I had to do it.
I love it. And
Many
don't forget,
reviewers
Tom,
did it before me.
I would have thought less if you didn't. Tom, come on now. We gotta start giving it up for our Golden Poppy Awards.
Yes, you're right. That was the list. Yeah, it was on the tip of my tongue, Julie. Yes,
I
that
was
was the
on
other
the
list.
tip
Yes.
of my tongue.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank
put a
you.
dollar in the pun jar for Tom, definitely. But yeah, I am
You're right.
now that I've gotten involved with
California's own Golden
now
Poppy.
that I've gotten on the Golden Poppy Awards, I'm one of those people. It's like now I'm going to make it a thing. We're
Yeah,
gonna,
you should. We should.
it's like it's going to be a thing. So, anyways,
But it was one of the 5 finalists for
Yes, it was.
fiction in the Golden
yes,
Poppy.
it was, and it was a very strong contender, I have to say.
Yeah.
Oh, another pun.
It
Mine might have been a little better.
definitely was. Absolutely. I take no, you should give me no credit for mine. None. Zero.
All right, Julia, what do you have for our Latin and round?
All right. Well, I have a Warwick's favorite author here, and he has a new children's book out. This is Be a
Oh.
Hero with Skipper the Seal by Admiral William H. McRaven, who Julie loves.
Yep. Yes, we do.
And it's just a very fun children's book about Skipper the Seal and his sort of journey to be a hero as a Navy SEAL. You can see him doing all those different things that Navy SEALs do, including have fun. And this is just a delight of a book. He has been, or he will be, it comes out tomorrow, so he will be doing a bunch of press for it. He'll be all over the place, but this is a great, but Warwick's has been working with him since his very first book. And this is sort of a great kids book for, kids who maybe like to play around, like they're, in the Navy or in the military of
Yep.
some kind. And
G.I.
this-
Joe, baby.
Yeah, exactly. This sort of gives them a little fun seal to follow
Yep.
through his.
I think he wrote that with his daughter too.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Yeah, so
You're
he wrote those letters. So if you are an Admiral McRaven fan like I am, we actually are going to be hosting him on May 2nd. We don't have the page up yet, but it will be up very soon. So Amanda will be able to list that soon. But Amanda has it ready. It's me that has, I haven't done my part yet. But he will be back at USD with us. So yes, I do love myself some Admiral McRaven. Best conversation. If you're in San Diego, come and listen to him. He's a great conversationalist and has some very good insights into things.
Yeah,
So,
he's very smart.
yep,
yeah.
very smart man.
Now,
Um,
tell me, do you call him Bill or Admiral?
I call him Admiral.
Yeah,
I would never in my wildest dreams think about calling him Bill. I
yeah, yeah.
couldn't even call him William. It's like
Yeah, not
it's
yeah.
Admiral.
Before you got to
And
Bill, you'd have to go to William.
I'd have to go to William, and it's just like, no, I always address him as Admiral.
Yeah, he
So
commands that kind of respect.
yeah, but he's a bit he does, but he's so accessible. Like when he comes, he's just like he's just a normal guy. So he is very it's very, when we hosted him, and I know I'm going on tons of tangents today, but we were in an auditorium with him with over 500 people, and when he told the Osama bin Laden story, you could hear a pin drop in that auditorium. I mean, it was one of the things of my career in book selling that will stand out as like amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a pretty special guy. All right. Okay, Andrea, wrap us up.
All right. I'm going to talk about Boys Town. This is a Jack Liffey mystery from John Shannon, and this comes to us from Unnamed Press, one of our small indie presses based out of LA. And back in the 80s, John Shannon emerged on the literary scene with his Jack Liffey mystery series. These novels were extremely well reviewed. And this is the new one in the series, but there's 14 Jack Liffeys now. And so this introduces a new readership to these great mysteries, all based in LA. Usually, each story or each novel is told around usually missing children, but around in different communities in LA. So you get a really amazing overview of like all of the neighborhoods in LA and all of the different cultures as well. So that's an added feature. So Jack Liffey is a former aerospace bigwig, and he's got a issue with the bottle. And he has a beloved daughter who tries to keep him on the straight and narrow, and also like interjects in his investigations. So we get her character comes in, Maeve comes in, which adds a nice little extra element here, and the writing's great. So this one is let me see here. This is a hardcover at $28, but then the backlist is now going to be coming through after this is published to reintroduce the whole series to folks, and those will be in trade paper. The first one is Concrete River, the second is Cracked Earth, and those will be coming out a little bit later in the spring and summer, and then in the fall, a couple more will be coming out. And the cover, I don't know if you can see that, but this is great. Michael Connolly says, Philip Marlowe would have been proud of his contemporary heir. Okay, come on. You're excited about that. And
Who's the publisher on it, Andrea?
this is Unnamed Press.
Oh, unnamed. Okay, I think you said that, but I missed it. Okay.
That's so cool. I don't think I remember that series, but that's amazing.
Yeah, it's really great that he's being revived for a new
Yeah.
audience, and he's getting up there, but he came out with this new novel, and we love it. I'd love to see like the resurgence of his career. And do we need another LA like mystery series? Like, yes, we do. Or like
I'll tell you, yes, I'll
Always.
tell you why. Because everybody reads them so quickly,
yeah,
and okay, well, they want something new from their favorite. So to have a whole new series to dive into
yeah.
is, yes, we have lots of people who like new series. So
Yeah,
this is
and
great.
yeah, and some of the buyers remember these books from back in the day, but there's a whole new readership for this. I mean, I
Yep.
personally think that like most like indie booksellers in SoCal should have an LA like noir and
Mhm.
LA mystery section in their section, a subsection. There's
Right.
a lot of good stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. We did it. Time to go get an Irish whiskey, Irish coffee, Irish something.
For sure.
Oh my God, I have a great Irish coffee story. Can't tell it. Next time we're all drinking together. San Francisco, what's the name of the bar in San Francisco?
Oh, the
The
famous
Buena
one.
Vista.
The Buena
Buena
Vista.
Vista.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Who
Uh,
could? It was the 80s. Julie had some fun times at the Buena Vista, let me just say.
Jules, I know
It's
you have
amazing.
stories. I know you have some scars.
Oh, no scars, just fun. Oh boy, those were some serious. So I don't even know if I could drink another one, to be honest with you. I love it.
You
All right.
can. I have faith in you, Julie.
I probably could. I could probably like force myself. I could force myself to do it. Everybody's cracking up, Julia, that you do it right away.
I know. I'm totally amazed.
I used to, my dad was an oysterman, and I used to work on the docks at Fisherman's Wharf. So I know it very well.
Very well.
Is
I'm
it still
pretty
there?
old.
Is it still there?
Oh
Do we
yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Forever till the end of time.
Probably.
Yeah,
Oh
but
yeah.
like the signage is awesome. Like just
It's
walking by it is like, oh my God.
it's just iconic, and it's just the best. Yeah, this was pre-Ubers, so there was a taxi ride that was very interesting
Uh-oh.
through that.
Not
I
a
can't
cable
wait to
car.
hear the full
A cable
story.
car goes
I'm
right
not
by
sure I
them.
want to.
Oh.
Oh no, Lori came for us all.
Yes, it was the late 1900s because it was the 80s. Thank you very
The
much.
late 1900s.
On that note, I think I'm leaving. All right, everybody. Lots of good books. I don't even know what's coming up. It's like there's so many things happening. Go to our website, look at the events. We've got lots of good stuff happening. Got some more good Is that a good English that I'm using there? More
Gooder.
Gooder?
For,
More
for
gooder
5 p.m. on a Monday.
on a
It's-
Monday on St.
Yeah, you're
Patrick's Day. So we
you're
have
doing
more
well.
gooder
In
we have more good
2025.
yeah virtual events. But if you haven't watched the Nathaniel Ian Miller, do yourself a treat. Just grab an Irish whiskey and sit down and listen to that for an hour because it's really good. All right, everybody. See you next week.
You.
Bye.
Bye.